Australia's gun laws, introduced after the Port Arthur massacre in 1996, are set for a significant test. From next month, an 8-shot shotgun will be available in Australia under the least restrictive gun category. It's a powerful weapon that fires and reloads quickly. Australian gun control groups are outraged, but the importer, the son-in-law of North Queensland MP Bob Katter, says he doesn't get all the fuss. Dylan Welch was given exclusive access to the gun in its Brisbane warehouse.
Okay, all clear?
Clear.
It can fire 8 shots in as many seconds, using a firing mechanism straight from the Wild West. The gun's going to hit our shores next month. To see it, we went inside this high-security Brisbane compound.
Dylan.
Hey, Robert. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good to see you. Come on through.
Good. Thanks for having us here.
The owner is Robert Nyer, son-in-law of federal MP Bob Katter and Australia's biggest gun importer, bringing in about 20,000 guns a year.
So this is the gun range in here?
Yeah, so we've got our indoor range here and we've got the guns all ready.
Nyer took us to his private gun range to show the shotgun at work. His company has its own publicity team, which filmed us while we were there.
So what we're going to do first, Dylan, we're going to fire the Adler lever-action shotgun, which has been the subject of some of the discussion this last week or two.
In gun circles, there's much excitement. The Adler uses a century-old firing mechanism called a lever action in a modern gun. Nyer's already sold 7,000.
And over what period did you make all of those pre-sales?
Within a week or two of launching the product to the market.
That's got to be a pretty good reaction.
It's a good reaction, yes. In Australia, if you're wanting to use a shotgun for hunting, it has been difficult to get a gun that has more than 2 shots, which is safe to use while you're on a motorbike and while you're walking around.
Concerns about the shotgun surfaced when this video from the gun's Turkish manufacturer was discovered.
This gun would devastate Australia's gun laws because it's a rapid-fire firearm, and gun owners are describing it as a cross between a lever firearm and a pump-action shotgun.
She was waving her arms and she was saying there is a man in cafeteria who's gone berserk with a gun, he's killing everybody in there.
20 dead, and most of the injured were in this one spot.
Carnage is the simple way to describe it. It's probably the only...
When 35 people were killed by Martin Bryant at Port Arthur in 1996, John Howard ushered in a new era of tighter gun laws. Today, pump-action shotguns are limited to people who hold a Category C or D licence, a small and highly restrictive class. The largest and least restrictive category is A, and that's the category Nyer wants for the Adler.
That is because the effective range is 50 yards. They are a low-velocity, inaccurate weapon.
This gun is categorised as an A category gun, which makes it the easiest to obtain. You have to answer the fewest number of questions, do the fewest number of tests, and the police see a category A gun as a relatively harmless tool of the trade, tool of the farm.
730 emailed every police force in Australia to ask if they'd classified the Adler as Category A. Most have, but the ACT said it would be banning the gun outright because it included a magazine that held more than 5 rounds. Green Senator Penny Wright wants the gun restricted to only those shooters with Category C or D licences.
The fact is that this weapon is clearly not far off a pump-action shotgun, and we severely restrict the use of those because the speed with which they can be used, so only professional hunters can use those. it seems to make sense that a gun which is very similar should have the same kinds of restrictions and not be available to casual recreational shooters.
If you're a mass shooter, which is what the Port Arthur laws were designed to curb, then that's the type of gun you go for. You go for something that's going to just fire and fire and fire and fire and fire, and people are going to have no defence against it for 8 rounds. That is a rapid-fire weapon.
Robert Nyer says the comparisons with a pump-action shotgun are wrong. So that's the Adler and that's the pump action, or that's the lever action, that's the pump action.
Yes.
Just show me the difference.
So the traditional lever action shotgun, you have to remove your hand from the trigger on every cycle of the gun that you do like that. The pump action shotgun, on the other hand, you can move a lot more quickly. So there have been claims that this action is the same as that action, and it is just simply not true.
Some users of online gun forums clearly see this as a way of getting around the 1996 gun laws.
Get one before your government catches on.
Somehow, someone managed to sneak in lever shotguns with 7+1 capacity.
The restrictive and draconian legislation enacted.
Wow, I really want one of those now.
We've got extremist elements on every side of the argument. I can bring up some nutters from Gun Control Australia's website if you like, and we can compare notes of extreme views.
The problem is that it's like drunk driving. You have to set a threshold, and that threshold has to be somewhere. And what the gun industry is doing is constantly testing that threshold, trying to push through it, trying to get past it. And that's how you create new gun markets.
Robert Nyer is not just a gun importer. He's also a key member of Australia's gun lobby. Isn't it your job to, in some ways, try to argue for the relaxation of laws in some areas, to broaden the scope of what is permissible? That's your job, isn't it?
No, not necessarily. On any end of the debate, you have extremes. So in the firearms community, we have extremists. There's no question. However, they don't get to the table with government, and they don't get taken seriously.
There are people out there who are constantly whittling away, trying to make guns easier to come by. And the public needs, from a public health perspective, the public needs to realise that it could be under threat.